Edging higher actually this morning, up about 16 cents. We're at 36.50, but this follows yesterday's steep slump for oil. We saw the biggest drop in this contract. We haven't seen this since April 27th. Investors obviously fearing that spike in new coronavirus cases. They're worried that that could affect demand, especially for the summer. Oil now on track for its first week of declines in almost 2 months. I want to bring in former Shell Oil President John Hofmeister. And John, what do you make of this concern about demand destruction? Because you've got the oil side of the story, and then you've also got these incredibly low gas prices across the country right now.
Well, this is a very, very uneasy season for demand. And it's going to continue, I think, as long as we have this uncertainty with respect to how much of the economy will remain essentially shut down. And so there's a big problem. And if you look at what OPEC Plus did last week, when they extended the cutbacks of production of oil, but only by a month. That's really to say to the U.S. oil patch, don't get your hopes up of producing anytime too soon, because if you do, we're going to flood the market again a month from now. And so everybody's on edge in the production side about not producing more than the economy can handle, because what do you do with oil that's not needed? It just sits in storage, and it's not of any value to anybody. But on the other hand, if you're a producing company, that's what you're paid to do, produce oil.
Yeah.
So the U.S. oil patch is in a dilemma right now. The price is high enough to begin some new production, just barely, but most everybody, I think, is going to hold back because the demand is not there.
Yeah, I'll talk to the Saudis and the Russians about that. Mattie Duppler, you've got a question for John. Go ahead.
Well, I would just say that it's not just about production, right, John? It's about investment. I mean, these are capital-heavy industries, millions of jobs hanging in the balance. Part of the CARES Act allowed for some tax treatment that allowed companies to smooth out their losses because of this demand shock. What do you think Congress needs to do moving forward, and how important is it to retain that tax treatment for companies so they can ride out this storm?
Well, I think that's the best thing Congress can do, is provide some kind of tax relief, which means elimination of certain royalties and giving people a break on the cash that they have to pay to the government. But you're correct. With this demand destruction, what comes with it is zeroing out or severely curtailing capital investment. We know from 100 years of history, every time we cut back capital investment, a year, year and a half, 2 years from now, there's not going to be enough supply because we aren't finding new oil. We aren't producing for the future. And, so we're going to face the inevitable high-priced oil. Maybe it's 2022, 2023. Wow. Don't know for sure. But we've put down about $600 to $800 billion of capital has been deferred from this industry. And if you don't spend money for the future, in the future, you're not going to have the oil. We know that for a fact.
John, that is an interesting, fascinating warning from you. Before we go, I do want to bring in Lou Bassanese. Lou?
Yeah, John, I mean, you mentioned high prices. That's what you got to experiencing during your tenure. But do you believe the adage here that, low prices are the cure for low prices in the commodity space? Is there going to be a demand uptick, or is there just too much excess supply right now to have that happen?
For right now, there's just an excess of supply. Keep in mind, we've lost about 12 to 14 million barrels a day of demand. That's huge. That's a 15%, roughly a 15% reduction in total demand for oil. And what do you do when you can't sell it? You just sit on it. And so I don't think low prices are going to help cure low prices in the short term. It may be by the fall we'll see a different scenario play out. But right now, I think it's going to be a continued low-price period through the summer months.
John Hofmeister, I'm still stuck on the fact about 2022 and the issue of supply. That's incredible. It makes me want to buy some energy stocks today. John Hofmeister, thank you so much. It's great to have you, as always, sir.
Thank you.
All right, well, coming up, we are poised for a triple-digit